The threat of a global thermonuclear war between the United States and Russia has brought us closer to doomsday than ever before. As the existence of humanity now hangs in the balance, what's needed now more than ever is people standing up and declaring independence from the forces that choose to sink us to our demise.
To stand up against the pessimism that reeks in our culture, that plagues the minds of people, that has destroyed our society and our humanity. What's needed now more than ever is to regain the ability to think for ourselves once again. Instead of being divided between two opposing camps, both of which are equally wrong and totally inconsistent with what is really truthful, we seek to go outside those limits and engage in a process of dialogue with various minded people in politics, art, culture, and other subjects.
We do not believe in talking to people who share the same points of view as us, but with people that are sincere and have something productive to say on the current state of affairs in the world. And this can be anybody.
Today, we declare independence from the torchbearers and break our chains to seek out and find and talk with those who are also unafraid.
We declare independence from the tyranny of those who think they can control our thoughts and can force us to choose between what they present to us like shadows in a cave. That's why we are declaring independence.
Okay. I hope I don't sound like a robot. Kynan.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay, good. Sorry. Sometimes I think I can eat in between like takes, but I know I've been doing everything. Actually, before we go to our guest, I did remember there is one thing we must absolutely promote, which is that Kynan and I, the reason we haven't been streaming last week, apart from it being July 4th, we've been focused on this. Juan de Perea, Afro-Hispanic painter. What this is that there's only not even 1 week left. Like Sunday is the last day to see this exhibit at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. It's very important for Afro-Latino history and culture, and there's been an appropriation of it because even though it's technically free to go see it, it's just a donation, the people who need to be seeing this kind of exhibit aren't actually going to see it. And so Kynan and I, we've been leafleting in Harlem. We've been leafleting at the Met. We've been trying to contact legislators like Adriano Espaillat, who Kynan and I have confronted before. And so we reached out to Espaillat's office in a show of goodwill. Listen, this is your district. You have a very important district when it comes to Afro-Latino history. That's Harlem. Can you please just promote this event, right? And their person wrote back an email saying, well, we can't do anything he's not directly involved with, so, but we'll do something better in the future in terms of the Afro diaspora, Afro-Latino diaspora. So, but, and Kinky, I will put in the chat, there's actually a webinar going on tomorrow where we have
to bring that up.
Yeah, we have some people who are doing a Kynan, if you could put it in the chat or I'll put it in the chat, I'll figure it out.
Sure, can't you just share the Eventbrite link? Oh, let me find it.
Yeah, actually, wait, here we go. I think I can just do it right now. It's very important that I think not this one. We go to events. Here we go. This one. I know. I'm so sorry, Kit. We're coming to you just now. I'm just gonna view your event, and then we come here, and bam, we come here, and boom. So if people are interested and they are not in the country, or you're not in the country or in the state, you can in fact come and see it. It's an Eventbrite thing. We'll be doing like a virtual tour, basically. Right here, Eventbrite. One day,
You're a robot again.
Let's bring Kit in, and you'll take over while I fix this.
Yeah.
Right. Go ahead, Kit.
Okay, so first of all, again, I have to call in the question if Jose is a replicant or not. But it's all right. Kynan, always good to be back on your show. You guys have been speaking truth to power. I'm very impressed with the growth of your channel, the work that you guys have been doing. And I like to say that you two are in my book of the dauntless few that are consistent and never back down. So shout out to everyone that's watching right now in the live stream audience. If you haven't hit that like button, please do so. It does help out with the algorithm and so much more. But thank you for inviting me back on. It's long overdue. I know I recently had Jose on my show, and apparently there is a lot that's happening, not only here in the United States, but overseas. Madness and insanity. So which one do you want to hit at first, gentlemen? It is your show after all. Make sure your train has a lot of steam in its engine.
Well,
I think I'm good, but why don't we start off with what we were just talking about before stream? There was an article in RT that you mentioned about Volodymyr Zelensky attacking NATO. Says that he condemned the U.S.-led bloc for its reluctance to offer Kiev immediate membership. So what's because remember, there's a summit going on in Vilnius, Lithuania right now, and NATO has made it clear that they're not yet willing to offer Ukraine immediate membership, which Zelensky, has been pledging for all this time. So
here we go.
Why don't we talk about that?
Well, okay. Obviously, we got the article from RT just to trigger the vote blue, no matter who, sycophants. But as you mentioned, this meeting is taking place in the country of Lithuania, and the Ukrainian president has cited signals he had received, which indicated Kiev would not be granted the invitation of any sort to join the bloc. Now, this is something that's been promoted all of last week. The will they, won't they put Ukraine as a member of NATO, which, again, look, a lot of lives are being lost in this war, and many innocent people are dying. To quote Donald Trump, I just want people to stop dying, but as longer this war continues, it's going to be very clear to everyone soon that Zelensky is going to start getting desperate. And what's interesting in this article is, even though we're just seeing a few quotes from him, the little dog is thinking it's the big dog. It's trying to bite off more than it can chew, and he's forgetting who his owners are. And he goes on to say, we value our allies, we value our shared security, and we always appreciate an open conversation. Ukraine will be represented at the NATO summit because it is about respect. But Ukraine also deserves respect.
Wow.
Gentlemen, your thoughts?
Well, I mean, look, the
I
NATO.
guess I'll go first.
Oh.
I mean,
go ahead. Oh, is it? Who's the one who's lagging? Is it me or is it kind of?
I hope. Don't worry, we will figure it out. Little small tech issues. Okay, while we are waiting for that, I do want to definitely address that there is, of course, the fact that in an earlier article as well, that NATO is trying to keep Ukraine.
What is going on? What's happening here?
Oh, what's?
I have a backup in case my webcam fails, which is just my my microphone, a better microphone. It's a podcast microphone, but
okay.
Yeah, for a minute you were just about to just start doing your own show here.
Yeah. Hey, man, the force of habit. Anyways, gentlemen, take it away.
Well, Kynan, go ahead. You go first if you want.
Well, I mean, the thing with Vilnius is that Biden has made a clear point to present NATO as being, united, this united front. We're willing to do whatever it takes to stop, Russia. But it's clear that there's been breaks in between this bloc. And that's coming off the midst of these cluster bombs that Biden has sent. And you've seen people speak out against this that you normally wouldn't have. Annalena Baerbock, foreign minister of Germany, who's as hawkish as you can get. She's actually spoken out about these cluster bombs being sent. And for those that don't know, I mean, what makes these cluster bombs so dangerous is that they have a high dud rate. And in terrain like Ukraine, it's really unpredictable whether they explode or not. And a lot of these bombs, they end up in the soil. So what you have is people in Ukraine, in these terrain, they'll have, their limbs blown off, their feet blown off. So it's completely unhumanitarian that we're even sending these. And I think Biden, it was yesterday on CNN, he had said, oh, we're actually sending these because we're running, Ukraine, we're running out of ammunition to send, so this is the only thing we can send. And that caused a lot of outrage. It's something that it's a truth that he shouldn't be saying out publicly. So, I mean, Germany made a big point that they're not willing to let Ukraine into NATO. I think their leadership has led to this outcome. So really, there's breaks in the bloc. That's the point. And they're not as united as they say they are. The counteroffensive is not showing any signs of victory, and this is really just failing. So it's really just a question of when it's going to come to a negotiation, I think.
Yeah, and I see here, actually, I pulled this up. This was posted 2 hours ago. It's a picture of, Biden. Well, it's a tweet that Biden put out. NATO stands strong, and I don't see Ukraine here. I don't see Zelensky. Maybe I'm missing him, but do you see Zelensky here? Because I think this sends a clear message, right? If Zelensky, he could have gotten away with putting Zelensky there, but he didn't.
Well, there's a reason why he's not there. You want to know why?
Why?
Because Zelensky never changes clothes. We always see him wearing that same military uniform, so he probably stinks and he doesn't wash himself.
But but see, if had Zelensky been in this photo, right, people would have misattributed and said, "Oh, well, does this mean that the United States is for Zelensky joining?" So it's a very strategic, it's like a subtle message the United States is sending, not just to Ukraine and Zelensky, but kind of to everyone. We're not actually for Zelensky joining NATO or Ukraine. And I'm going to actually look for the other photo that I saw here that was pretty powerful. They had this photo of Zelensky, who is just the only guy at the party that no one's talking to. Everyone else is talking to themselves, but nobody else is. Let me see. I'm going to look it up here. Photo of the day. Did you, by the way, Kit, ever? Here it is. I found it. Look at this. Present, share screen. This right here. He's the one kid at the party that no one wants to talk
to. He is wearing the same uniform. That's why no one's talking to him too. Probably smells terrible. Damn. He's literally the meme of, they don't know it yet, but I'm a real big deal.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's right. He's like the kid who's standing at the party at the corner, and right. They don't know that I'm actually a leader of a country, and everyone's just having a good time. This is a really a telling photo here. Also, I see we're having connection problems. I don't know, man. Maybe NATO is trying to crack down on our stream here. But
it's Zelensky. It's Zelensky. He knows that we're talking crap about him. He's just like, you got to stop those guys declaring independence in hard lens media. They're making fun of me. They're making fun of me.
Yeah, joining forces. Kit, what is the likelihood now? Because Lindsey Graham put out a tweet, which I'll start pulling up here, saying that he understands Zelensky's frustration, and that even Lindsey Graham, though, said after this war, we must ensure that Putin never does this again.
After this war, that Putin never does it. Okay, well, so what's your question in regards to that then?
Even Lindsey Graham, who's been the most ardent supporter of Zelensky, even he's saying, we're not going to let you into NATO until after the war is over. So what do you think that means in terms of long-term prospects for Zelensky and Ukraine? Do you think I think they're just going to drop this whole thing and pretend like they never actually went through with this war. But what do you think?
It wouldn't surprise me if the United States drops this whole thing like a hot potato. But the problem is the United States, in intercourse and putting itself in this conflict that's between Russia and Ukraine, it can't pull out. And now there's a big mess. Literally, we are tied to Zelensky, unfortunately, because we have given billions upon billions of dollars in aid when that billions of dollars could have been used for every single American living here in this country. When I hear the statement, we will take care of this after the war, a sinking feeling of dread comes over me because, okay, great. Didn't we make that promise to the people of Afghanistan after the Soviets left? And oh, wait, Afghanistan became a lawless state. The people who we gave money to, Al Qaeda, the weapons, they eventually turned it against us. Now, just to remind everybody that's watching this show, in early 2022, CBS did a documentary video about weapons that are not being accounted for, that are disappearing as soon as they get to Ukraine. So, okay, what kind of factions and groups will rise up after this war? How much of the territory will Russia still maintain over? Plus, Lindsey Graham, you're making a statement of we'll deal with Russia after the war. How exactly do you plan on dealing with Russia after the war? More sanctions? An invasion? What exactly are you going to be doing to Putin that he hasn't gone through already? So, in other words, Lindsey Graham just posted out a feel-good tweet trying to bring reassurances. But if Ukraine loses this war, then it's not going to have any position to say we can join NATO. No. Once the hostilities are over, because this is what the hostilities are about, at least according to from Putin's perspective, it's not only to flex his own power, but he doesn't want Ukraine to be part of NATO. So there's no conversation afterwards. What Lindsey Graham there was just basically put his foot in his mouth.
Yeah, I pulled up this little handy infographic here. This is the world with and after democracy, or before and after democracy, the great NATO-US democracy here. Look at how much better Iraq is, or Libya, Yemen, Syria. I mean, wouldn't you want democracy everywhere? Especially the NATO branded democracy, the Costco level democracy.
Hey, come on. Leave Costco alone.
I'm sorry.
Got close ties to it. Put in Sam's Club. Sam's Club democracy, not Costco. Come on.
Or BJ's democracy. But you got anything, Kynan? Now we'll move on.
No, I agree with you, kid. I think we put our foot just so deep into this trench that there's really no way of leaving it, regardless of what we're saying about Ukraine not being led into NATO. And I still do think there are some moderates in Europe, whether they're in Germany, Bulgaria, they've, insisted that they're not actually going to send any kind of ammunition to Ukraine. So I think you still have those moderates that are keeping us from going straight in to the fires of a thermonuclear World War III. But really, they're not going to stop. They're going to provoke this conflict any way they can. I'm still really surprised that we didn't see any kind of provocation at this nuclear power plant at the Zaporizhzhia. I mean, I'm thankful that it didn't happen, of course, but really, they're going to provoke this conflict any way they can. They're going to escalate any way we can. And we have to be holding these people accountable and keeping them from really destroying all of humanity. So,
exactly right.
One last thing here, too. No matter how this war does play out, I mean, all those weapons are still going to be in Ukraine. A lot of tanks, artillery, light armored vehicles, heavy machine guns, rifles, pistols, etc. All that weaponry is going to be there. I do not trust those individuals there to safeguard them or to ensure that they will not be shipped out to somewhere else. There's criminal organizations, terrorist groups, and nations that will buy said weapons from Ukraine. And so no matter how this war ends, the legacy of it will haunt us 15, 20 years down the road. And I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong about this. I want people to say, oh, Kit, you should never have said that. You're wrong. And I hope they reference this video and say you were wrong. But all of a sudden, I have that horrible feeling that this will be clipped someday. And 10 years down the road, 15 down the road, those weapons that have been sent to Ukraine will come back to haunt us.
Well, I mean, it's not a far-fetched thing because the Russians are cleaning up the United States' mess from 20 years ago. Right, I'm pretty sure the Russians are the reason why ISIS has been mostly eliminated from Syria and Al-Qaeda. Right? They've been fighting ISIS forces. They've been fighting Al-Qaeda forces, right? So, and that was because of the United States funding all of these terrorist groups that we once called freedom fighters. And I think what the Russians are trying to do right now is to kind of say, well, why wait 15 years? Let's just go after the Nazi bastards now. I'm not saying I endorse. I'm just saying that's what I think they're doing. That was the initial goal of the, as they call it, the special military operation, which was complete denazification. So, and they're handling it in the best way they know how, which is just get rid of everyone. Anyway, with that being said, let's move on to something domestic. Kit, you brought this up to my attention. I had heard about this, but I didn't really understand what exactly was going on, and I hope you can shed a little insight into this. So Marianne Williamson, as far as I know, and I think also Kanye knows, right? I never really understood the beef with her because I never got too deep into like who was running in the DNC other than RFK Jr. I know that people didn't like her because people thought that she was just going to endorse Biden like she did in 2020. And I know that people were just sick and tired of her running again and running the same shtick. So before we actually go into these tweets, can you just give us a little rundown on who Marianne Williamson was, and why people resented her running again?
Okay, Marianne, keep it short. Marianne Williamson, number one, is a self-help guru. She was promoted by Oprah way back in the day. She has since then had a lot of close ties and connections to the political elite, as well as Hollywood celebrities, all of that. She ran a campaign in 2020 during the Democratic primary, and to her, again, one of the rare moments I'll actually defend her, along with Tulsi, Andrew Yang, and Bernie Sanders, were, wrongly smeared and hit by corporate media. But yet, was Marianne Williamson's criticism. It did come out to the revelation that she was using her campaign to sell her self-help guru books, right? And again, that dissipated over time. She eventually endorsed Biden in 2020, and now she decides to throw her hat in the ring. Now, this campaign that Marianne Williamson has been running was promoted by Kyle Kalinske and Crystal Ball, as well as the Vanguard and a few other larger, I guess, quote unquote, left-leaning channels. And they were trying to, I guess, turn Marianne Williamson into Bernie Sanders 2.0. However, Marianne Williamson has a long set history of being very abusive towards her staffers, having them sign NDAs, and having a very short temper. And not to mention, as regards to conflict of interest with those said channels, including Crystal and Kyle, she also officiated at their wedding. So a U.S. presidential candidate officiated a wedding of two quote-unquote journalists and reporters who have been promoting her campaign. So huge conflict of interest. Now, somebody has decided to be a whistleblower, Jeremy Elwood, and he decides to tell his truth because he signed on as an NDA and signed an NDA, and I guess his conscience got the better of him. And to which I have to say, Jeremy, thank you so much for your bravery. I hope that's a good rundown because I don't want to take too much of your show.
No,
yeah,
Kid, you can never take too much of my show. You can take all my show. You can do whatever you need to do with my show. So it seems like I got my webcam working again. The audio degrades, but people can see me here. Okay, so now, let's actually get into the whistleblowing here. So I don't know what is worse implosion, the Titan sub or Marianne Williamson campaign. Hey, Kyle Kalinske, Crystal Ball, you owe Rev Black Network and progressives an apology for promoting that hack fraud. I do remember.
Yeah, no, RBN got attacked viciously by Vanguard people, Marianne Williamson people, and even those who carry water for Kyle and Crystal. So RBN really went through the ringer. But the thing is, we all were critical of Marianne because, again, as soon as RFK Jr. got into the race, and, I got my criticism of his campaign, right off the bat, 20%, leaving her behind was her measly 8 to 10%. I mean, her campaign, and not to mention, she lost 2 campaign directors already.
Wow.
2 campaign directors already, and this guy, Jeremy Elwood, was a national field director.
Yeah. So I know that Kyle Kalinske and his wife, when Cornell first announced that he was running with People's Party, they were like, well, this is great news, but it's under People's Party, so we can't endorse the People's Party. Okay. Then Cornell switches to the Green Party. Did they still have any criticisms? Did they still say they're going to support Marianne?
They've actually here's what's funny. There was a recent video on Breaking Points where Crystal was talking about AOC endorsing Biden, and she put in just a little bit about how Marianne Williamson's policies are more similar to AOC's, which is like, oh, come on. Even now, you still got to promote Marianne, saying that her policies are similar to AOC. I guess Marianne and AOC do have something in common. They like to talk, and never deliver, and they're both lackluster and mediocre. So yeah, I guess Marianne and AOC really do have some things in common. They're uninspiring, and they know how to swindle people out of their money. Well, not swindle people, but I guess good-hearted people really believed in Marianne Williamson's campaign, because at least according to RBN, she was able to fundraise $1 million.
Wow.
$1 million.
Wow, that's so now we come here to these leaks here. So Jeremy Elwood says this was the former national field director, like you said.
Yep.
Her campaign is not a campaign. It is a book tour. Here's how I know. I was the national field director. I was fired along with anyone who mentioned ballot access or field plan. Her focus is only on events and social media. I was half joking a month ago that this is a book tour. I found out on the day that I was fired that she has a book coming out in September. When I brought up in a staff call that we still don't have ballot access in any state, she literally called ballot access mythical stuff. Yeah, what the fuck? Wait, hold on. How do you... Wow, that should be the biggest tell right there. Right? Like, what is the strategy? Look, it's not easy to get ballot access, no matter what party you run under. Right? I know you know it.
Well,
yeah.
Well, I mean, if you have the blessing of the Republican and Democratic establishment, and even though there might be a crowded field, if the establishment says you're all right, then okay, you won't have much of a pushback. If you are outside their boundary, you will get pushback. And if you're third party, oh, good luck. I'm just only speaking on my behalf here in Illinois. But yeah, it is a struggle. That is true, but it really depends on said candidate within the DNC and RNC, especially at the state or federal level.
Sure, I hear you. No, oh, hold on. Let me bring Kynan back in here. I didn't see you there, Kynan. There you go, brother. No, I hear you, and you're right. And actually, also, like incumbents don't need to get ballot access. They're already the presumed nominee if they're not being challenged, and if they are being challenged, their name already gets on the ballot because it's presumed they're going to run again. Which I guess, hey, that's the perk of running with the crooks. So anyway, yeah, no, but anyway, what Jeremy Elwood is saying, that they don't have any ballot access, that's a very big telltale sign that your campaign is not going anywhere. Now, anyway, he continues and he says, myself, national field director, and my partner, field strategist, were let go after we toiled to make a solid national field plan and had to pivot to political director roles to fill gaps so we could finish the field plan. We weren't allowed to complete our roles because of, quote, mythical stuff. Jesus Christ. Marianne has fired those who know how to make a campaign win and has kept and promoted those who are only event and social media aware. Book tour. Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Yeah, what the fuck? It's like, you're not trying to win. You're just trying. Yeah.
I feel sorry for any. Well, again, I want to be careful with these words. I mean, I do feel sorry for those who might have been suckered into thinking that she was Bernie 2.0, but other people who maybe had their blinders and earmuffs on. This is, again, another reason why I don't trust the Democratic establishment or people running within it, because they only have their best interests at heart. They don't care about the working class person. Your concerns are not on their list. And so by reading this, you already can tell that Marianne Williamson, if she's ever interviewed, a serious journalist is going to have to ask her, hey, do you have ballot access? How come you don't have ballot access? Are you going to release the NDAs that you have on some of your former staffers? Because you have a rich white woman who's probably going to be threatening lawsuit against this guy. So a rich white woman who's very well-to-do is going to be threatening this dude. I'm willing to bet it 10 out of 10. That's going to happen.
Well, I heard that the original poster, Jeremy here, had to delete these posts, so the originals can't be found. I don't know if that's true. I heard that, I think, from Savvy Sabs, who put that out. So maybe he already did get some pushback, and some legal ramifications are on his way, and he's had to take the first step, which is taking it down, because look, this is campaign ending stuff.
Yeah.
This not only that, I think it ruins her book tour. So whatever book is coming out in September, which it'd be funny if she still goes along and through with it. Maybe maybe this is all controversy to drive book sales. You know, the book that ended her campaign. That'd be funny. But anyway, we need to let's finish this off here. So again, this is the top. Again, she has no ballot access and doesn't care. Calls ballot access, quote, mythical stuff. She fired everyone who has any semblance of field. She promoted New Hampshire state director to campaign manager. His name is Carlos. He knows nothing about national campaign. By the way, I've only worked on nationals for the past 8 years. Nor has he any experience in field, which is what it takes to reach the voters. Marianne is a grifter. Do not support her. She is here to sell her book coming out in September, and that is all she is here for. If she wanted to win, she would listen to the multitude of experts that were on her campaign before she fired them for giving advice and direction. I worked for her, and I am all the more sad for it because I was duped. I thought I was more aware than that. Go ahead, Marianne, shoot me a cease and desist because I will do neither. Your campaign has no hold because you're a grifting fraud.
Oh, beautiful. So first of all, I have to say that this individual is extremely brave and courageous for doing this. And you know what? I feel I have to say, because I was watching RBN earlier, they said they feel vindicated, which they should. They should feel relieved in knowing that not only that all these jagoff people attack them, but no, this is a serious question about Marianne Williamson and her ability to get on the ballot. It's not an easy thing to do. And already corporate media has viewed both her and RFK Jr. as fringe candidates. So, you know, if she's unable to really secure any kind of ballots so far, then that should be enough evidence for the remnants of her supporters to walk away. And I think if she's not going to take it serious, then she needs to bow out. I think her to quoting the Vanguard, her train is out of steam. It doesn't have enough steam now, so it's gone. It's kind of done. The Marianne Williamson campaign of 2024 is more or less officially done because this is a damning statement.
Is that what they said recently?
Yeah, there was a live stream. So this was like a couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, I believe. I could be wrong, but the Vanguard did a story in which they broke the news that her second campaign manager, the main director, resigned. So he left. So first, before that person, there was Peter Dow. And Peter Dow has a long history of, you know, working with a lot of Democratic campaigns from Bernie Sanders to Hillary Clinton, etc. And now when they did that video, they were like feeling a little down. It was like, well, yeah, but now it's got to get more steam and her train might be out of steam now. Dude, her train's been out of steam for a while.
Yeah. Well, I guess there is no other Democratic primary person running other than RFK Jr., right? And Biden, of course. There's been talk that Gavin Newsom might throw his hat in the ring. I don't know. I just think back to all the people like, and again, you know, Brianna Joy Gray, like I respect the hell out of her, but she jumped on the Marianne train. And I remember when Marianne first announced, she was, you know, criticizing the criticizers, saying, well, shouldn't you be happy somebody's challenging Biden because this will push Biden to the left and this will make sure that, you know, Biden will feel threatened and we can, you know, honestly withhold our vote. And then therefore this will make sure that Biden, you know, passes policies like Medicare for all or something. But it's like, he's just going to cheat harder. If he actually feels threatened, all they're going to do is just make sure that they cheat harder. They're not going to actually do something that'll make people vote for them. They're just going to rig the election harder, which we can now say on YouTube, by the way. There's election fraud, thankfully. So, you know.
Yeah, well, it is relieving to know that there are some of the restrictions have been uplifted just a little bit, but again, we all got to be careful because again, YouTube can snap at us at a moment's notice. But looking at this campaign, I'm glad that this information is out now rather than later, because let's say hypothetically Marianne Williamson started to gain more momentum. Let's say Biden had a huge health crisis and the Democratic Party is trying to scramble to find somebody else. Well, that's a huge boost for RFK and what could have been potentially Marianne Williamson in this hypothetical scenario. Can you imagine all the people that would have been wasting their money donating to her if she got a huge boost of support? I mean, because then the grift would have been real and so many people would have been really screwed over. And if that's the case, Marianne Williamson has a lot to answer for. She has to answer if she's going to get on the ballot. And this whistleblower, this person who used to be part of her campaign, did the right thing. And he should not be condemned for it. And if she does try and go after him, I say we all stand in solidarity with him.
Yeah, and I think I also want to just point some attention to this. Apparently, there's like a little follow-up here. He's still waiting for the $400 expense payout and the $6,000 severance payout. Which, like, damn, that's a lot of money. Maybe I should start working for Democratic, I mean.
Don't do it. They'll screw you over, man. Don't do it.
There was one time when I was like really, really in a pinch, and I was like, maybe I should sell out to the Republicans. I should just become like a hardcore, like, Republican, run against AOC as a Republican, just go all in, man. That's, what they're so good at? Like, if you look at like the Hodge twins and stuff, they're really good at promoting their merch. Like it's amazing how well they are with branding and stuff. And then I remembered that I have something called morals and principles, and that matters more. But oh yeah, and then also Jeremy Elwood says, note, this is not me as a disgruntled employee. I was fired on June 30th. Okay, so that was about 12 days ago. I would have made this a lot sooner if it were just me being disgruntled. This is me being sickened by seeing that she's taking advantage of supporters while I know it has nothing to do with the campaign. She's using the money to sell a book. End of story. Which, damn. Yeah, so... Look, I wanted to... Uh-oh. We have a backup, as always. I'm here. Oh. Okay, never mind. Sorry. I thought I had to go to my backup. Guess we didn't. I've seen some legitimate criticism of a third-party run for Cornell. So there have been people, like, complaining, saying, oh, if you vote for Cornell, you're going to ensure that Trump or whoever the Republican nominee is going to win. Right? And so people have been saying, well... therefore, Cornell should not do this because he's going to steal votes from the Democratic Party.
Good.
I've had some people say that Cornell is very likely to drop out because of the fact that of his close ties to people like Bernie and stuff. What do you make of that?
I have not heard these rumors. I would be completely disappointed in Dr. Cornel West if he did that after all this right now, after all of the, again, huge waves that could come from a potential third party movement. I think that would be really foolish of him on that part. But also, what do you owe Bernie Sanders or the Democrats? The quote unquote Democrats in Washington, D.C. have never delivered a goddamn thing to us. All right. They never followed through with their promises. And Bernie and AOC quickly decided to jump on and support Biden right away as the nominee. So what I would say is in regard to that potential scenario of Dr. West supposedly dropping out, I would like to see is there any kind of link or story about this, or is this just hearsay on the internet? Because that's the thing. If somebody's close to the campaign, okay.
No, it's just as far as I know, it's just hearsay on the internet. Just people saying, because people were inferring like how Cornell says, brother Biden, right, and the fact that
then you know what? Then that's just hearsay. That's just hearsay. That's hearsay, and and unless there's any kind of written document, screenshot, or any kind of proof, then I have to say this. If that scenario was the case, I think we'd be disappointed. but Dr. West and anyone else who's running as an independent doesn't owe anyone in the Democratic Party any favors. And Green Party voters and Libertarian voters are not Democrat or Republican voters. So who's to say the DNC or RNC that those said Libertarians or Greens are automatically going to vote for one of those two jagoff parties, the Democrats or Republicans? So, it is a fool's notion. Plus, 50% of Americans are identifying themselves as independents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Oh well. On the independent side, there are states like New Hampshire where RFK Jr. is campaigning hard, where they can vote in the primaries even if they're not registered in a party. You know about this?
Well, there is a problem in New Hampshire, though, especially and in Iowa, too, because both these states are being passed over by the Democratic Party. And what's happening is that, let's say, again, because it looks like Marianne Williamson's out. All right. At this point, I can't even take her candidacy seriously at this point. But there is the possibility of Biden not being on the ballot as well. And so RFK Jr. could win potentially both New Hampshire and Iowa. But
this is the first time hearing that Biden may not be on the ballot in those states.
Yes, this has been a while. This has been like going on for like a couple of weeks, maybe a month ago now. This story's been out where because what they're doing is they're pushing South Carolina ahead of the line.
Right. I heard about that.
And so by doing that, Iowa and New Hampshire lose their coveted first and second place. And what has been said by the Democratic Party is that if Iowa and New Hampshire choose to run their primaries like they used to, like with Iowa being first and New Hampshire being second, the DNC can and probably will dismiss the delegations of both states from the convention in 2024.
Wow. Yeah,
the Democratic Party is a private institution. Check out the work from Nico House and the Convo Couch. They have the receipts showing that the DNC has said this, and there is court documents of them admitting, like, hey, we choose who the nominee is. Because even in a hypothetical scenario of RFK Jr. winning the nomination, the Democratic Party theoretically with the superdelegates and say, we don't accept the nominee. We don't accept the end results, and still pick their own establishment candidate.
One of our I'm back, by the way. One of our one of our friends that we had on actually expressed similar concern about RFK because of, like you said, even if he wins the nomination in New Hampshire, and he's been focusing a lot on that particular state, they could just wipe out the delegates. So it's a question of why is he even running within this party, and why isn't he just running as an independent?
Yeah, because a lot of his support is so broad. It's not Democratic voters. We were listening to his town hall live. Actually, I did the thing with Jardula, with Pasta, where we were reacting live to the town hall he did on what's the name of the News Nation, the one with Cuomo. The one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were listening to that, and the first thing that came to our minds was like, well, the first thing that came to my mind was the fact that there are sane people in the Democratic Party. I think it's very easy to kind of get caught up in this, like, Democrats are all dumb and anybody who voted for Biden is a dummy. I might still stand by that. If their intention is to vote for Biden, I can understand 2020, yeah, no problem. You were anti-Trump, okay, you voted against him. But if you are actively a Biden supporter, like you have a Biden-Harris 2024 hat, if you're out there, right, like, that was my image of Democrats today, that I think they're all like that. I think they're all just like, idiots. Just you'd have to be like walking around like this. And then Joe Scarborough put out an article saying, oh, it's all in your head. The country's actually like really fine, really good.
Oh, really? It is? Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic. So I'm going to tell the people who's living underneath all the bridges here in Chicago, hey, you're not homeless anymore. Just stop being poor people.
It's all in your head. Just go home,
I'm hungry. I'm starving. I'm dying. It's all in your head, man. You're just acting crazy. Jack, have some ice cream like Biden is.
I'm pulling it up now, but yeah, that's what it's called. Joe Scarborough. He wrote it for The Atlantic. America is doing just fine. Here we go. Here it is. I got it right here. America is doing just fine. The United States deserves a robust defense. There's a little firecracker here. As Americans celebrated the 4th of July by watching baseball, fireworks, and Joey Chestnut. Very American. Hammering home his 16th win in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. Poor Uncle Sam labored through the midsummer celebration, beleaguered and under siege from all sides. News items over the course of the holiday weekend reported that Americans were feeling more skeptical of their country's future and less patriotic. I wonder why. 74% believe America is headed in the wrong direction, and a great majority dread the presidential rematch America seems doomed to face. Uncle Sam deserves a modern-day Atticus Finch to argue his case before the American people.
Oh, God. Did they call him really Atticus Finch? Did they really do that?
Yeah, they sure did.
Oh, God, what a jag-off outfit.
Let me see if I can get the full article here. We have, we're going to beat this wall here. Somebody probably already, there we go. Perfect. Beautiful. That's the modern day Robin Hood. Bam. Archive.ph, folks. If you ever need something, to beat the wall, archive.ph.
Send me that link. Send me that link because I would appreciate that. So
sure,
private
no
message
problem.
me. Private message me that on Twitter.
Sure, no problem. I'll do it right now, actually, before I forget. Here we go.
Hell yeah. All right, awesome.
Yeah, no, it's super good. Anyway. Let's see here. All right, the usual suspects who once regularly delivered garrulous Eric Stratton-style defenses of all things American are now scattered to the winds by the tumult of Trumpism. Neither the Capitol riot nor a barrage of indictments have stopped these hucksters from slavishly siding with Donald Trump in his attacks against the same American institutions that conservatives once defended against enemies, real or imagined. Whether the dirty hippies who tried to levitate the Pentagon or the commies on the church committee. Wait, so if I understand this correctly, is he saying, like, if you think America's bad, then you're no better than the people who joined the Capitol riots? Is that it? Or am I could be wrong. I don't know. Kynan?
I don't know. I'm not getting that sense from it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this guy just can't write. Or maybe
you know what you call articles like this, especially those that start praising Biden. I call articles like this the rent was due. Now look, probably this writer lives in a fancy studio apartment, and it costs far more than it's worth. And he's that person's running out of funds, so they have to do a little puff blow piece.
Yeah, well, this Joe Joe Scarborough, right?
Yeah, I know. I got no good old Morning Joe with his wife hostage. I mean wife Mika.
Yeah. So he writes this article, and then he gets, which I'll pull up right now, the most deserved ratio I have ever seen. Here we go. I'm going to pull this up here. Here we go. Share this tab instead. Quit your whining, he says. America is doing pretty damn well. And damn. That's 5,879 comments to 4,441 likes.
Isn't it a shame people have to pay for that garbage?
Not if you use archive.ph.
Yeah, exactly.
What were you gonna say, Kit?
Well, no, man, I'm all for it, man. Like, forget paying for this garbage outfit, The Atlantic. They recently did a attack piece on White Gladys. Some jag-off wrote, the killer whales aren't actually our friends by damaging the boats. And I'm like, man, get out of here.
Look at this.
Yeah.
So he says in the article that childhood poverty has dropped to the lowest level on record. Teenage pregnancy also the same. The U.S. dollar has experienced a generational high over the past years. I'm not making this up. I am not making this shit up.
Has you not been paying attention to the price of eggs, milk, bacon, gasoline, and everything else in between?
Look at this. The number of job openings this past year has also hit record highs. Thank you, Mr. Scarborough. New York City just looks like a mess. It's all in people's heads. It's very safe to ride the subways, folks. It's very safe to walk outside after 10 p.m. at night in New York City. Don't worry about the people who are flumped over in Harlem. That's just all in your mind. America's doing great. Overall, the U.S. economy continues to surge forward despite economic dire predictions. Also, my cat has a zoom in, so if you hear that, he's just climbing his little Godzilla tower over there. Overall, the U.S. economy continues to surge forward despite economicists' dire predictions. America's GDP grew to $25 trillion last year because that's the best metric of an economy. Texas has a bigger economy than Russia, and although California is routinely rebuked by right-wing critics, it is the fourth strongest economy in the world. But except all those people living in tent cities, that's not, a problem, right? California's doing pretty good, except if you ignore all the homelessness, drug overdoses, the people who are running away from home, the illiteracy rate, the fact that people aren't sure how they're going to pay their bills if they ever get sick at a hospital, right? But so anyway, America's good if you ask our propagandists, and that we should just ignore everything bad going on in the United States.
Yeah, stop being poor people. It's all in your head. Mm-hmm. Just like how there's articles saying that RFK Jr. supporters are not real, or third-party supporters are violent and want Trump to win. It is amazing what is being allowed to be printed and being interpreted as news by the establishment. It's like they stopped even trying now. It's like they truly have stopped. This is what happens when everything becomes corporatized. Hey, Bill Clinton, thanks for that Telecoms Act, because at first probably people were like, yes, now we can do corporations control everything, but they all got lazy. They all got lazy now, and no one takes them serious anymore. So they're open to ridicule. And the talent, I mean the journalists, I mean the talent that work at CNN or MSNBC or Fox, eventually people are just going to get tired of hearing these overpaid reactors, talented people, quote unquote, present the news, because the news isn't empowering us or informing us of how sick our neoliberal society is.
Yeah, that's right. And I think, Kit, you've definitely been a pioneer in the independent media journalism world. And I think also, as we enter in this kind of new medium, I was reflecting that YouTube was only started in 2006.
Mm-hmm.
So this industry has only been alive for 17 years or so, and it's gone through so many evolutions. The YouTube Partner Program was started in like 2009, so people were actually able to start making a living kind of on YouTube, and then it opened up for everybody at some point, and then the censorship came in hard because it was actually becoming very potent for people to just start spitting truth and spitting facts. I'll be honest with you, Kit. I used to watch TYT as a young kid.
Me too.
Like 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. And, free time on YouTube, right? It's like you watch the Water Buffalo, Chank, on TYT, and I have no sympathy for Cenk anymore. Ever since he said that what Kynan and I did was just incoherent yelling and rambling, and I lost all respect. I had lost respect for Cenk even before that, but there was one good thing that came out of the Trump winning the election in 2016. Those compilations that people made. I don't know if you saw these of everyone melting down. The liberals.
Oh, I occasionally grab some popcorn and watch that when they're having. Yeah, no, dude, that is a work of art. Whoever did that, you are a saint. There's so much that could be unpacked in that video, because in the first 10 minutes they're all like, Hillary's got this, and then
yeah, that's right. And I remember the New York Times had a little needle thing, right? That was saying as the states are coming in, they were forecasting greater than 99% for Hillary Clinton to win. And at the time, I was on all different kinds of discussion boards and subreddits and 4chan too. And then I remember when the needle dropped to 80% chance Hillary Clinton wins, we were like, wait a minute, is this? And then Florida then dropped, and they wouldn't report Florida. They were not reporting Florida.
Yeah, I remember that.
One. And I remember tuning into TYT because they were like, okay, they're not reporting Florida. What's going on here? Then watching Alex Jones pop the champagne.
Oh man, but see, that was beautiful and poetic in so many ways, because you had Cenk, who dismissed everything, because I was there at the Wells Fargo Center when Bernie Sanders supporters were being attacked. I saw that firsthand, what happened to a lot of those volunteers.
Wow.
And Jank and TYT dismissed what happened at the Wells Fargo Center. I've heard the same story from the Bernie Sanders supporters where women were being physically assaulted. All right. And take that. And again, I don't want to go too much further into that, but, there were guys who were being assaulted. People's addresses were being doxxed. People who were running Democratic campaigns at the time were being threatened by the DNC and by the DCCC. So seeing them melt down, I find that as poetic, because they were telling everyone, we have to vote for Hillary. We have to vote for Hillary because Trump. They did the same thing in 2020. We got to vote for Biden because Trump. And now they're doing the same thing too, but no one's listening to them anymore. We got to worry about Trump again. And I know Jank is saying that Biden as a candidate is flawed. But I'm waiting for him to say, okay, guys, we got to support Democrats because Trump. Like, I'm waiting for that. If he doesn't do that, I'll be surprised, because he needs that Katzenberg cash. He needs another injection of the $20 million Katzenberg cash, which I hope he was able to use it wisely, because, you do have to pay that back, because he got that investment. And, anyone that's going to be donating $20 million is going to want a goddamn return.
Oh, yeah. And I bring him up, or TYT up. And then I also, think about like Philip DeFranco, who was also one of the early pioneers of people on YouTube who were, quote, reporting news and stuff independently. See, and then all of a sudden, Philip DeFranco becomes a mouthpiece for just like mainstream media. I don't know if you ever watched Philip DeFranco, but like I used to watch some of his stuff, but then after a while I stopped. How's he transformed? Oh, dude. So Philip DeFranco in the beginning was like a real independent media guy. And then he hired staff because he started making more money, research staff, people who had journalism degrees. And it just became like, here's what New York Times said. Here's what CBS said. Here's what, The Atlantic said about the situation. So, and that happened sometime around 2014, 2015. I think around Trump, it happened where he just became like a total shill. But those guys had to kind of pay that price. They kind of had to like become they became infiltrated because they had to be, because the establishment was like, whoa, independent media is going to become a force. We got to figure out a way to either neutralize it or get it on our side. And those guys became the infiltrated and became part of their side.
Right.
And so it also showed us who was for real and who was not for real. And I think something beautiful has come out of it, where it's allowed channels like yours and others to actually have a platform for people who know, okay, I know mainstream news is bullshit, and I know what people call independent media, like TYT and Philip DeFranco and the Vanguard, if you want to call them indie news.
The Vanguard. Listen. I'm going to make a bold prediction. You guys are going to supersede the Vanguard, because the Vanguard started like a year and a half ago, and they're still at 22 or 26,000 subscribers. They haven't grown.
Wow.
They're mediocre.
That's quite a bold prediction. You're gonna have to help us do that. If that doesn't come true, we're gonna make you sign
an NDA.
An NDA.
Sign an NDA? Huh?
We're gonna take that part out, and we'll put it back in only if it comes true.
I'll just add one more thing into the mix, because the thing I really think is going to have alternative media grow, and Garland Nixon pointed this out on one of his podcasts, is, the firing of Tucker Carlson. I think it was that first post on Twitter. How many views did it receive?
I think like above 30 million, I believe, or something higher than that.
Yeah, and
88 million, yeah.
And that was like, over twice or so his viewership on Fox, and just people like him just moving to these alternative platforms, Rumble, Rockfin, whatever. I mean, no one's gonna pay attention to this establishment stuff anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But there's also a danger, because like alternative media doesn't automatically mean good media either. Not to say Tucker Carlson isn't bad. I mean, he's definitely had some good takes on stuff. I don't agree with him on everything, but like was what I'm saying. That's why I brought up TYT earlier, right? Like, people will look at TYT and say, "Oh no, they're independent media. They're good. They hold the establishment accountable." They do not. And Anna Kasparian recently, by the way, right, has like come under fire because she's getting a lot of shit for What was it? She just said something about like she said that the civil
Oh.
rights. Oh, you know, right, kid?
Well, there's a couple of things that has been coming against her, and a part of me sympathizes, but another part of me doesn't. And what happened was Anna first, the first wave of attacks happened when she said she didn't want to be called a Karen. She found that word to be pretty offensive, and Puritans, a part of the social justice warrior industrial complex, took offense to that. That Anna does not want to be called a Karen, and then the second time around had to come had to deal with how pronouns are taking over, and now like women are being called birthing people, and even in the UK, a vagina is being called a bonus hole.
Bonus hole.
Hey, I know what I just said. I know. Don't believe me. Anna said it, and there is a story that will back it up too. And so, you know, she felt like her being as a woman, like women are being dismissed by the LGBTQ community, and that you know this needless, incessant, rampant push of having identity politics being the front and center issue, when all she's saying, like, the real issue is going to be the economy. Because look, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what your pronouns are. If you're starving and your wallet's empty, you're going to want to know what's wrong with the goddamn economy. And especially if you're busting your ass off working 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet, and your bank account is still in the negatives. Yeah, that's going to be people's number one concern. Not how you identify, not what kind of badge that you have, or anything else of that nature. No one's going to care. No one will care. And Anna's been relentlessly being dragged by, I guess, the progressive leftists or the extremist social justice warriors.
Somebody, I think it was Lucy on Twitter, who made the point that Anna didn't change. It was the fact that she's just getting pushed out by a younger, more extreme crowd. That's what's going on.
I would say not only, but see, here's the problem with those people who are coming in, the more extreme puritanical SJWs, right? Because I've seen those individuals before. I've seen them protest before. And they were at their height, especially when Trump was president, because all they kept on saying was resistance, resistance, and we're going to be out there in the streets forever. Hey, Roe v. Wade died. I don't see any UMFers out there in the streets, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with a lot of these people, as soon as they do get into power, like a lot of these extremist Puritans, what they do is they sever all ties. They never invest into their infrastructure, and they cause their own political movement to cannibalize in on themselves, because as soon as they go after their first outside threat, like Anna, eventually they all start attacking each other, because there's no plan forward. It's all identity politics. It's all feel-good statements and trying to cancel people. When I think the cancel culture movement, it did have its popularity 2016 through 2020, but it has lost all of its momentum, and people just don't care about it. People don't care about what's being said on Twitter or on social media now, because, you know, let's face it, if someone doesn't like watching my show, you have the choice of not watching it.
Yeah, right.
Instead of just cancel. But, you know, she is, if she is getting pushed out, I say, Anna, just be happy about it, because all what those people will do is drag you down. But again, I do find it funny, because she also did rely on that crowd to try and cancel Jimmy Dore, blackmail him. That's an effed up thing. Are you well aware of what happened with that?
No,
I hadn't heard of it.
What? Hold on, you two don't know
about?
No.
About Jimmy Dore and Anna Kasperi? Like, what happened when Anna? You don't know?
Wait, is this? No, I don't. The only thing I know is
you seriously don't know
about what? No.
Wow. Okay. Well, hey, I'm gonna school you in on this. So in 2021, Anna private messaged Jimmy.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. Private messaged Jimmy. This was in 2021. She private messaged him, and she said, "Hey, you're lucky I don't tell people that you were abusive and harassing me at TYT when you used to work there, and how you commented on what I wore." And Jimmy got that message, and right away he got right in front of it and said, "Let me explain this message here. You two seriously don't know this, do you?"
No, brief us, please.
Yeah.
Holy shit, man. Wow. Oh man, I feel like an old man now, but it's okay. It's great. Gather around, boys. You're about to hear about the great war between Jimmy Dore and TYT. So Jimmy got in front of it, and so Jose, you might remember TYT before 2016. They were like a Howard Stern type kind of show. Okay,
Yeah, that's right. They were like, yeah,
right. So
Chick used to talk about like sleeping with animals and stuff, and like it's worse, you know. It's okay because the animal doesn't know, and
yeah. So what happened with this said incident? Jimmy talked about it. First of all, he mentioned the jeans that Anna wore because Steph wanted to buy those jeans. So he asked her, like, where would you get those jeans at? Right. And so she told him. Another time that happened was Anna, when she was a teacher, she brought all her students from her class to check out TYT. But this is from Jimmy's statement. She wore a ridiculously short skirt. All right. I'm talking about a very, very short skirt. And she dropped something and she went to pick it up, and more or less she kind of mooned everybody. And Jimmy said, "Hey, Anna, nice new skirt." And she got said, like, "Hey, F you bastard." Yeah. Well, wow. You two don't know this. Holy cow. Oh yeah.
No.
So then Anna went on this whole tirade of Jimmy supposedly being a harasser and abuser at the studio, which I call into question because this isn't the first time Anna kind of made a very tall statement about a person who was either interviewed at TYT or worked at TYT. Because the thing is, Jank was running TYT all throughout the time before I think Anna became a major owner of it. So, you know, this whole statement towards Jimmy, this is baseless. There's not enough proof. And if Anna's going to make such a bold statement like that, she sent that private message to him in many ways to blackmail him or cause him to stop talking or being critical of Democrats, or how TYT was reporting on the case of Julian Assange, or how that no one's bringing up the fact that Bernie Sanders not once but twice got cucked out. I mean, Jimmy was doing the real job. He was having award-winning journalists on his show, still does to this day. You got Aaron Mate, Glenn Greenwald, Matt Taibbi, Max Blumenthal, etc. Glenn Greenwald, yeah, I already said Glenn Greenwald's name. But yeah, and so TYT just kept on doing these ridiculous attacks, calling Jimmy sexist, misogynist, all this stuff. And more or less, I think Jimmy won the fight. I mean, TYT didn't win jack. But yeah, there was a whole episode of the Jimmy Dore show where they broke that message down.
Wow.
And they really dragged TYT through the dirt. And I think right now, like somewhere out there, there's an image because when Jimmy Dore was talking about, Max Blumenthal joined them, and Max Blumenthal made this shocked face, like you know, because he wasn't really expecting all this to happen. I mean, it was a classic meme face, like, whoa.
Yeah, no, this is like I didn't really get into Jimmy Dore until like the beginning of 2022 after the COVID lockdowns and stuff.
You didn't know about the Great War.
Because
I'm only giving you a short rundown because there's a lot more to it. Because there was and the only reason why, again, I question and I don't believe Anna's statement about Jimmy, because again, we've interviewed Jimmy. Jimmy's been very good to all of us. But it doesn't add up, everything that Anna did, especially with that private message. And when if you look for it on the Jimmy Dore show, if you check out on his YouTube channel, you'll see how insidious and nefarious that private message was. Because the last time Anna messaged Jimmy was like sometime in 2016. Wow. So 2021, 2016. Big gap in between. So let me just explain this other incident too. So when Tulsi Gabbard was running during the Democratic primary, this is like 2019, 2020.
Right.
So she's already being vilified by everybody in corporate media, and TYT is also vilifying her too. Tulsi did this great power tour interview in California. She was interviewed by Nico House on the Convo Couch, Kim Iverson, Jimmy Dore. There was somebody else, and then TYT. Now, when she got to TYT studios, Jank was going to interview her, right? And so Jank and Tulsi interview, and it's a regular hit piece kind of interview, like he's saying, "Oh, your ties for Assange, Putin, all that kind of stuff," right? Now, according to Anna Kasparian, this is from her statement from Anna. Tulsi apparently walked into TYT headquarters and started demanding Jank how the interview is going to be run down. Now, that doesn't add up. That makes no sense whatsoever. If you're going to have that, somebody should have been video recording that or been more vocal about it. And Anna was saying that she was being censored and silenced by Tulsi, which, again, according to people who were with Tulsi Gabbard's campaign, everything was cordial. But one person said that Anna was just giving these daggered-eyed looks towards Tulsi the whole time. Now, the thing is, if that incident took place, what I want to know is, why was it just 4 or 5 days later, Tulsi Gabbard is once again back at TYT headquarters being interviewed by Cenk a second time? And again, I remember this because this is the early days of Hard Lens Media. We just got out of the radio station. We're doing the show at Daniel's old apartment. And him and I were editing. Okay. So, I just got done because the next day I have to wake up early because I have my early morning shift at Costco, but my phone buzzes and it says live TYT interviewing Tulsi Gabbard. I'm like, wait, I turned to Daniel. Didn't Tulsi Gabbard already get interviewed by TYT? And he said, yeah, just pull it up. And it was a brand new video, different live stream, different type of interview. And that interview that Cenk did with Tulsi before, where Anna supposedly said she got canceled, is way more different than this new one. So if that was the case, why would Cenk do 2 interviews? That never made any sense whatsoever to me.
Doesn't add up.
No, it does not add up.
Yeah,
there's a lot of lore here I'm missing. I like.
No, man, I feel like a wise old man now. Like, listen, youngins, you don't understand. There's a great battlefield there. There's many twists and turns, schemes and plots within plots.
So now then, what does this mean for today? Because I know that one of TYT's employees left because of Anna's comments, right? About that.
Well, okay. So look, Anna obviously made a statement about Tulsi, which I don't believe, and about Jimmy, I don't believe that either, right? But
sure.
I kind of just sort of just a little bit sympathize because Anna was kind of making a reasonable argument of, look, I'm a woman. I shouldn't be called a birthing person. Vagina should not be called bonus holes. And, this whole identity politics. I mean, eventually, after a while, even if you're an ally, what the heck? Like, how many more pronouns are there going to be? And how much front and center will identity politics be when it's really the economy? Let's face it. The economy is the number one issue.
Right.
I don't care where you stand in the political spectrum. Everybody sees it. Everybody knows about it. Everybody's talking about it. And this person who used to work at TYT apparently was saying that Anna and Cenk were both transphobes and being bigoted towards her. This person went on the Vanguard of all places to tell their truth. But it doesn't make any sense. I think this person got just triggered by Anna's statements and the fact that she was also on a few conservative talking shows such as Ben Shapiro and another show as well.
I mean, wow. Yeah, no, I understand what you mean. Like, somebody shouldn't be getting crap for a reasonable take. Which I agree with you. It is a reasonable take. And also for appearing on someone else's show. But that's kind of why Kynan and I created Declaring Independence. Look, I've been on many conservative people's shows, just like I've been on many people's, leftist shows. Yeah. The interventions have such a broad range of support that my Twitter feed, that's mostly where I have the biggest concentration of people who support what I do. And it's like so evenly split between Democrat and Republican that sometimes, like, when I retweet something from my friends, they're like, man, I prefer your Democrat followers more than your Republican followers, because everybody has such a different take on whatever I'm tweeting out or something. But I think it also speaks to the fact that the interventions get at something that's much deeper than the split in politics, which is the fact that everybody's just fed up. Economy, politics, media, everybody knows it's all bullshit. And that, I think, is a lot more powerful than whatever the hell divides us. More powerful than the pronoun game. And, you know what? Publicly, let's get Anna on the show, Kynan. What do you think?
Yeah, let's definitely have her on.
She has Harlan's media blocked. I was surprised. I was like, wow, we're blocked. We're blocked.
Maybe I should tweet that out. Anna, you're welcome to come on Declaring Independence.
We have sympathy for you. You're more than welcome on this show. We're not going to cancel you.
Again, cancel culture is stupid. We all have different opinions. But it is interesting seeing how there are people just going after Jake and Anna. It's just, hey, they were okay with it when they had those same people going after Jimmy or Aaron. I mean, especially when Aaron Mate's got the most reason to have beef with Anna. Just adding on to this, because she kept on calling him. She called him a fake journalist. He said that his work was plagiarized, that his work isn't authentic, and that he is an Assad apologist and a Putin puppet. And because what happened was, because as soon as she sent that message to Jimmy, she also attacked Aaron Mate too. So there was like she attacked both Jimmy and Aaron, and that's how Aaron got the nickname Buzzsaw.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Oh, that's where he got that name?
Oh, Buzzsaw, Aaron Mate. Oh, he let off on them. He popped off on their asses. Holy shit.
Wow.
It was glorious.
Yeah,
Man,
there's
you
a
guys
lot.
have no idea what you missed out on.
I guess not.
Oh,
Man,
you gotta watch that.
What were we doing 2021 kind of? What was our big project? Because like usually by years we do like projects and stuff. What was 2021?
I don't even remember, to be honest with you.
That was like
I feel so proud of myself right now. I mean,
all this spicy lore we're getting today,
Yeah,
Jose. It's a
yeah.
real treat.
no, it's definitely you go down the rabbit hole, says Dr. Nick Riviera.
Hey, Dr. Nick. Hey, everybody. Hi,
Yes,
Dr. Nick.
I definitely do. I like to fall asleep to like YouTube videos, hour-long YouTube videos that like explain lore on just whatever subject. I'm gonna fall asleep to. I'm gonna find some video essay.
You gotta make a documentary on this whole situation, man.
Oh man, that's, you know what? I don't want to reignite like hurt feelings again, but I mean that would be an interesting story to cover. Like, hey, the Great War of Jimmy and TYT. But look,
give it a few more years. Let it ferment. Like,
that's true.
See what happens, and then yeah. Okay, all right. Well, we're coming to a conclusion here. I gotta tend to.
Yeah. You guys are like an hour ahead of me, so yeah, you guys got to be bouncing out. I got some work I have to take care of too, studio work and all that good jazz.
All right, folks. We don't have a sign-off kit, so normally what I do is I kind of just keep talking as I hit end broadcast. But before I hit end broadcast, where can people find you?
You could find us at hardlensmedia.com. Hardlens Media is live on YouTube, Odyssey, Rockfin, Rumble, and Kick now. We're no longer on Twitch, but we're going to be stopping live streaming on Odyssey. I believe Odyssey's kind of kaput, but nonetheless, I'll just save my opinions for later for that one. 9 a.m. Central, Monday through Friday. Pour some whiskey in your coffee, grab a mimosa, smoke a bowl, do some shrooms, chew on some cocoa leaves, whatever you need to do to get you through that morning. Chill out with Hardlens Media and enjoy the news.
Beautiful. Damn, now I want to get in on Hardlens Media every morning at 10 p.m. a.m. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Mountain Time, 7 a.m. Western Time. So anyway, kid.
I had to look back in my kitchen like did something drop.
All right, anyway, kid, we don't have a sign-off, so I'm just going to hit end broadcast and keep talking until it says